Now, I like scary stories as much as the next guy, but we gotta change it up every once in a while. So, today we are back with some more juicy relationship drama. Am I the asshole? You know the vibes. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it. Let me know what you guys think of the non-scary stuff, because I honestly really enjoy making these videos. Oh yeah, we're gonna be working some more on my storage room in Minecraft. So the first post today is from r/relationship advice from user throwra parody twin 9. I, 31 female, had a conversation with my BF, 31 male, and the rose-tinted glasses came off. How can I navigate this? I, 31 female, have been with my partner, 31 male, for 1.5 years. We love each other. It's been rocky at times, and we've nearly been through a breakup, but each time we talked it out and believed we pulled through. The main subject of contention has always been his hobby and subsequent club. He's on the volunteer community, has meetings every Monday, and goes every Wednesday and Thursday evening, along with some Friday evenings, as well as Saturday and Sunday mornings. That's a lot of time to spend. He also spends several weekends away out of the year to do hobby and uses holiday time for it too. He does admin outside of this also, and has been in trouble at work for doing said admin during work hours, and has even done admin during our quality time. There have been several incidents at the club, and with him being on the committee, he has spent a lot of time dealing with it. So much so, it affects his mental health poorly. He has even canceled plans and changed date nights with me to prioritize his hobby. This has caused many arguments and conversations which stem from him making a hobby his priority and how he wants me to just slot into his current lifestyle. I explained that this couldn't happen and we have to compromise to try and make it work. I believe things had turned a corner. However, something changed today. I'm bisexual. The local pride parade is coming up and I expressed my want to go. We didn't make any explicit plans to go out together, but he stated if he was available, he would go. He knows how excited I was at this prospect and knows how much this means to me. However, he messaged me to say he was now doing his hobby instead and couldn't go. Now, he said he was asked to go and asked me if this was okay. I felt like I couldn't say no, as in the past I've said no and been made to feel guilty because I'm stopping him from doing his hobby. I'm not that kind of person. People make choices. That's their decision, not mine. However, I asked him if he ever wanted to go to the Pride event, and he said, I would have, but my hobby is more important. And then something in me just clicked. This event is important to me. It's something I'm excited about. It's something I want to do. The amount of times I've sat and taken him to his hobby, watched, helped, and supported him without fail, and sometimes without being asked, he doesn't do the same for me, because it's not as important to him. I felt like he was saying, I'm not interested in the thing that you find important because it's not important to me, and by extension, you're not as important as my hobby. I didn't feel anger or hurt or disappointed. In fact, I didn't feel anything, and that's it. I didn't feel anything for or from him. No love, no support, no companionship, nothing. All the times I'd given up my time, wants, and needs to support him, and yet here I am with something very important to me, and nothing. I felt nothing. The option was there. There was a choice, but I'm conflicted. I love him. We've navigated things before. How can I navigate this further? What advice would you give someone? Any advice from the strangers of Reddit would be appreciated. And here's the top comment. It sounds like it's not about pride at all. Some people want a girlfriend, but not a relationship. Some people are so afraid of being single, they want a girlfriend simply for the sake of not being single. But they don't want a relationship because that requires work. You want a relationship, he wants a girlfriend. You're an accessory to his life, not a priority. Accessories can be easily replaced, relationships cannot. I guess this incident finally brought things into focus, but any improvement would require an effort on his part, and he's made it clear that ain't happening. But even if he was willing to work on things, you'd have to manage it all. You'd be the one telling him exactly what he needs to know, how to prioritize you. You'd be the one making all the effort, and that is tiring. Find someone who wants to make you a priority, who wants an actual relationship and doesn't treat you like an accessory. Yeah, honestly, that top comment is just such facts. Like, This person is literally just in it for the sake of having a girlfriend. Like, regardless of what it is that the OP's into, like, this guy should be there and support his partner. So yeah, this is a pretty easy one. Dump his ass. Okay, here is an update the next day. Thank you all for the comments. I'm reading through each one as we speak. I might not reply because I'm still soaking in all the insight. Common questions. To those asking what the hobby is, it's a sport and a very niche one, so I'm not going to detail what it is because that's not fair on that sport or the people in it. He isn't cheating. I've been with him on the weekends and taken him to the sport. No, I'm not karma fishing. Thanks, bot accusers. Throw away new account as I posted on my old account and didn't interact enough, hence throw away. I honestly don't care for the whole karma thing. I'm seeing him tonight and will show him the post. And then here's the update 9 days later. Sorry for not responding to everyone in the comments. I got overwhelmed, honestly. We broke up. Reading your responses and information and questions was super helpful and gave me the slap I needed to get my arson gear and leave. Just going through the motions, as you do. Now we're no longer together. The hobby, sailing. Screw sailing. All the damn time. I'm gonna go focus on me and go back to being a single goddess and enjoy Pride Month with people who give a shit. I love this top comment. I enjoyed the progression from vague hobby to sport I won't disclose to sailing. You could see the fucks dwindling. I feel like I'm not surprised it was sailing. Seems like boat people make boats into their identity. Yeah, that's pretty solid. The next post today is from r/anti-work from user Educated Vegetable. Notified my work weeks ago I'm leaving for a family vacation in July. Tickets were bought, non-transferable, and they are panicking, begging me to cancel. This whole situation is absurd and I need a sanity check. I work in admin in a niche but important multinational industry. I'm a knowledgeable, reliable cog, and I pick up a lot of slack as we are incredibly short-staffed with plans to add more because it's working out fine for right now. Blah, blah. My boss is going on vacation, and she and I were comparing dates and realized they lined up. She immediately told me I had to cancel. I told her I can't. Things are non-refundable. Since I'm a cog, I never considered my manager's schedule. That's not my job. She told me she could deny my PTO, and if I go, I would be released. Also, for anybody that's wondering, because I know I had to Google it, a cog is an individual who plays a minor but necessary role within a massive organization or system. Also, that is just such a hostile, toxic work environment. Like, oh, I'm the manager, so yeah, I get to go on vacation. Yeah, you should cancel yours though, so I can go on my vacation. Anyways, let's continue. I go to her boss and say, let's make a plan. They say, okay, great, and build a schedule for task coverage, including him taking a few hours each day to sit at my desk and doing my in-person job of fielding industry questions, or taking their info and I'd follow up later. And I offer to log in, paid, for a couple hours every day to help support. He says, cool, I'll present this to the higher-ups. My boss's boss told me that the higher-ups think that he's too important and high-paid to sit at a front admin office for any amount of time. Then the board comes up with a great idea. We'll just offer to reschedule my vacation. They offered a few $100 to cover scheduling fees. I calculated the fees. They're way more than a few $100. Talking thousands as hotels, travel, transport, everything for 4 I book in advance so I can relax. We do this because it's not just my life, but my partner's summer schedule and his 2 kids and their crazy schedules with sports, split custody, their bio mom's vacation plans, a whole thing. They asked me to cancel it and just go some other time. I said a firm no. The kids are finally old enough to comfortably travel internationally. They're excited, and I'm not going to tell them we can't go because work won't let me. Huh? My thing is, I'm a cog. Should I have double-checked everyone's calendar before scheduling? Sure, but I'm not a managing party. I haven't experienced something like this in my entire working life. I've previously notified upper management of my vacation time at the beginning of the year, just like this, and they just say, okay, great, thanks for letting us know. Why is my leaving for 7 working days, leaving the office in such a panic? there are options to resolve this, like having someone come from another department for a couple days here, another a couple days there, and I offer to support remotely. Also, my vacation is scheduled for July. I tell you in February. Also, shouldn't this be a reasonable indicator of how short-staffed a department is if 2 people being out for any extended period of time throws a wrench into everything? Did I do something wrong? Is there something I'm not seeing? Any insight or advice would be amazing. Here's the top comment. It's March. July is 4 months away. They can pull their shit together and figure out a plan. Either this company is imploding or this post is rage bait. Then from the OP. Unfortunately, this is very real. The company is actually expanding and 2 other personnel have left, but will not be replaced due to cost, and since they left, the department is no longer overstaffed. The president of the company is a tight wad and has successfully run with a skeleton crew for over 2 decades, and is the kind of person that will tell his employees, minions, to make a grand idea happen. If he is questioned or told that won't work because of X, he gets so angry that he's being asked to explain himself or take input from the people around him. It just makes him dig his heels in harder. Luckily, as a cog, I don't have to face the brunt of his ire. But my boss and boss's boss do, which is why my boss got so emotional when this all started. I would leave, but opportunities for this niche industry with my skill set and location are minimal. Also, I'm good at it. Okay, so here's the next update over a month later. Interesting update in this saga. So, some time has passed, and upper management is absolutely begging me to reconsider, reschedule, cancel, anything so that I'm here for the time our dates overlap. Overlapping time, 5 workdays. They keep telling me they have to consider the needs of the business, that they will pay for rescheduling fees, in the thousands. They keep asking me to pull up or answer for my personal calendar to cajole me into rescheduling to come back early to cover some of the time. They keep saying, but you know how busy it gets, look at your metrics. On top of this, we had 2 people leave the department in as many months, and we're being told no additional personnel will be hired. The reason no one is being hired is because I've absorbed most of the workload, and see, it's fine, we don't need more people. Great. The thing is, I know how busy it gets. That's why I booked a family vacation during the slowest time of the year, and told y'all in March that I wouldn't be here. I wasn't asking. I feel like I'm going crazy with 6 people telling me I'm being unreasonable, inflexible, and putting them in a bad position. I even made a temporary schedule for other departments to cover my work for that time. Again, 5 days, and was told it's not going to be considered because other departments are already short-staffed. It just really is making me feel like all personnel issues are falling onto me. The thing is, I'm looking at the job market right now, and it's bleak out there. Recession indicators waving red flags. Sure, I could get a new job, but not at my pay scale or in my field right away. I'm seriously considering making my part of my family trip shorter so I can come back early. Do I hold strong, or do I let them bully me into changing my vacation plan so I have job security? Seriously asking, because I feel like I'm actually going crazy from the stress. Here's the top comment. Take your vacation. Say out loud to them that if you can't do it without me for 7 days, what will you do without me if you fire me? And then the OP responded, I did. They told me I was a valuable employee, but ultimately replaceable and should start looking for other work. No way. Honestly, you'd be good to if you can find another job, even if you have to take a small pay cut, yeah, that's wild. Forget the job. The stress from this job is probably taking years off of your life. Okay, here's the final update another month later. Final update. Hopefully I linked the post correctly. Thanks to all who commented or interacted with me on the previous post. All comments were read, considered, and offered many perspectives I didn't consider, so thank you. In short, I notified my employer months in advance that I was leaving for vacation. They needed coverage for 5 days, and they told me that if I went, I would not have a job when I returned. Cool. After some reflection and your encouraging comments, I decided to look for another job in the industry I work in. It's pretty niche, so the major players know of or have met each other. I reached out to a vendor of the company I currently work for, and they immediately offered me a position, fully remote and at the same pay scale. They said I can start now, later, whenever. They're stoked to have me on the team. They mentioned I have a great reputation, and all of our vendor interactions have been positive. And because they were a vendor, they couldn't approach me, but they were happy I reached out to them. I'm over the moon. I gave my current position a month's notice, am training my replacement over the next 2 weeks, taking a short break, and then starting my new remote position. And I get to keep my vacation with no hassle. All in all, I'm really happy how this all worked out, and not sure I would have pursued anything new without my current position treating me so poorly. So honestly, kind of have them to thank for opening my eyes. Don't you just love the good ending? And you know, this company that the OP worked for, they're probably going to realize after she leaves that she did a lot and did like 4 or 5 people's positions, and they're not going to be able to hire someone to replace what she did. So they're going to have to hire 4 new people. Either that, or they're going to distribute the workload onto other people, and then they're just going to quit their jobs. Anyways, the next post is from Am I the Asshole Relationships by user CandyCrusher89. And the title of this one actually kind of blew me away. Would I be the asshole if I broke up with my boyfriend because his friends got me a me-shaped pinata? Alright, yeah, I'd say that's a little bonkers. I, 22 female, and my boyfriend Matt, 22 male, have been together for a year and 8 months. Matt and I go to different universities and neighboring cities, about a 45-minute drive. Matt is in a frat, that's funny, important for later. It was Matt's birthday on Friday. Me and him went out to dinner to celebrate. After dinner, I went back to my university since I live on campus. The next evening, I was on Instagram, and I clicked on one of our mutual friends' private story, and I saw Matt and a bunch of his friends hitting and stomping on a piñata. By clicking through more of the stories, I figured it must have been a surprise party for Matt, since he had told me his only birthday plans were dinner with me. On the last slide of the Instagram story, I got a close-up of the piñata, and it looked exactly like me. From the hair color to the skin color, even down to my septum piercing. There was no doubt that it was me. I was really confused, and I screen recorded the stories, then I messaged the friend who posted the story. I asked her if that piñata was me, and she left me on red and removed me from the close friend story. This just confirmed my suspicions. The next day I texted him and asked how his party went, and he acted confused and said he had never had a party. I was confused as to why he was lying to me. I told him I saw it on mutual friend's private story, and he completely stopped answering. An hour later he answered and said, yeah, the guys threw me a surprise birthday party. It's frat tradition not to talk about it though. Yeah guys, that sounds completely made up. That's when I asked him about the me-shaped piñata, and I sent him the video of him and his friends destroying it. He told me that it wasn't me, it was just a random piñata the guys had found. I told him to stop lying to me and that it was obviously me. I told him how hurt I was that he would allow his friends to do something like that, and all he could answer was that they would kick him out of the frat if he didn't accept it. I also brought up how if his frat had thrown him a surprise party, why wasn't I invited? I was only like 45 minutes away. I knew it wasn't because it was only guys, because the mutual friend who posted on the story was a girl who goes to his university. And I saw in the story there were multiple girls there. He stopped answering me and hasn't since. It's been a day with no contact. I'm honestly considering breaking up with him over this. I've caught him in lies before, but this is just too much. The video of him and his friends stomping the piñata was just so disturbing, and to find out that my face was on it, we were planning on moving in together after graduation, but honestly, I don't know anymore. Would I be the asshole if I broke up with him over this? Ooh, girl, is that even a question? Alright, let's start with the first bad thing. He's lied to you before. So okay, your guy's a liar. He was stomping on a piñata that looked like you. That I'm imagining it had the OP's face on it or something. Yeah, no, that's kind of a problem. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say there's not a positive future to staying in this relationship. Would you guys stay with him? Let me know in the comments. I really hope you wouldn't. Okay, here is the update 4 days later. Hi everyone, thank you for all the comments and messages. I've read each and every one of them and I'm truly grateful for all the advice. So Matt texted me back after a full day of incognito. He finally admitted that, yes, the piñata was supposed to be me. He said it was just a joke and it was meant to be funny. I told him how disrespectful and disturbing that was. I ended up breaking up with him and told him I wasn't going to stay with a man-child who was going to disrespect me for the fun of him and his friends. He completely lost it and begged me to stay. He was apologizing and saying he didn't want to lose me and blah blah blah. After I made it clear I wasn't going to take him back, he literally sent me a video of him making out with said mutual friend. I don't know what the point of that was, maybe just a final FU, but I honestly couldn't care at that point. I now realized how immature he was. I just blocked him. So yes, most of you were right, he was cheating on me. I'm thankful that I didn't move in with this jerk, and I saw him for what he really is, an immature man-child. And yes, I will be sending the video to the university, though I doubt they'll do anything. But yeah, this is the update, and thanks again for all the support and kind words. They truly mean so much. Okay guys, moral of the story. If you're dating a Matt, kick him to the curb. Matt ain't worth it. The next one's from r/legal advice from user mental estimate 2462. Can I throw my house guest out 2 weeks into a planned 6-week stay? Location, Westchester County, New York. I agreed to let a friend of a friend stay with me for 6 weeks while he's in town for a work-related course. He's been nothing but inconsiderate and entitled since he got here, but our mutual friend is important to me, so I decided to stick it out. That went out the window this morning when he informed me that his mother and aunt will be flying in on Friday to visit New York City and will be spending the week staying in my living room. He basically had a full-blown temper tantrum when I told him that this wasn't happening, and I'm officially done with it. The bright side is that I only had a spare key to my doorknob lock, so I just planned to leave the deadbolt unlocked while he was staying here. In a perfect world, I'd just lock the deadbolt, tell him he's going to have to find other accommodations, and arrange for him to come pick his stuff up. I know New York has very tenant-friendly laws, but I guess my hope is that this hasn't become a tenancy situation. He's only been here for 10 days, has an apartment back in Indiana, and I've got emails and texts with him and our mutual friend that include discussions about the duration and context of his stay. I'm hoping all of that will work in my favor, but I really have no idea what to expect if he tries to push back. So yeah, can I lock this guy out, tell him to fuck off, or would that end terribly for me? Thanks. Edit to mention it's his mother and his aunt. I was typing faster than I was thinking when I posted this. I'm going to spare you guys all the legal jargon comments from this post and just tell you that he's safe to kick the guy out because it's been less than 30 consecutive days. Here's an update 3 days later. Location, still New York. My guest is gone and has returned my keys as of last night. I doubt he was able to make copies, but I'll be keeping the deadbolt locked just in case. There was a pretty embarrassing meltdown, but he made no effort to claim that he had a right to stay or anything. Unfortunately, there will be some social and familial consequences, as the guy I was referring to as our mutual friend is actually a mutual cousin, though the now former guest and I aren't actually related. That didn't seem very relevant to my issue, and I was trying to be concise, but it's going to be a thorn in my side going forward. I don't have any regrets though. I'm not interested in dealing with that kind of disrespect in my own apartment. Anyway, I appreciate everyone who let me know that I was good to just tell him to find new arrangements. Yeah, your house reflects your peace. If someone comes into your safe space and, honestly, is an asshole, kick them to the street. Also, I didn't know New York had laws against kicking people out of your house. That's wild. The next one is from r/2hottakes from user moneydonut7375. Mother-in-law invited people we don't know to our wedding. She won't uninvite them because that's embarrassing. Sorry for the length, but I wanted to make sure people have enough information. My fiance and I, male, female, both mid-20s, got engaged January 2025 and plan of getting married spring 2026. Very soon. Wedding planning has been a nightmare. It seems like everyone has an expectation for how the wedding planning is supposed to be. For context, I'm paying for 75% of the wedding and the parents are covering the remaining 25%. Although they like to act like they're paying for everything. I was able to call out my parents for their behavior and draw boundaries. But with his parents, particularly mother-in-law, they've been very difficult. Even the small stuff. Some examples. Fiance and I toured venues alone. His parents were very upset they didn't get to see the venue beforehand. Like, really upset. I ended scheduling a second tour so both our parents can see it. Simple fix. I mentioned how I wanted to do wax seals on our invites and had already bought the supplies, but mother-in-law was adamant I use different supplies and do the seals how she liked them. I talked about the tentative timeline. The wedding will run from 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. Everyone has to be off the property by 10 p.m. because of noise ordinances. It's outdoors. Mother-in-law was disappointed. Apparently 6 hours was just not enough time. Mother-in-law bought my fiancé lotion, body wash, and a candle from Bath & Body Works. It's part of a wedding collection they had. She requires my fiancé to use the products the day of the wedding. It will be a moment, she said. The biggest fight so far, the church. We were both raised Catholic and chose not to get married in the church. My family doesn't care. Lots of us have moved away from the faith anyways. His family, tears, pleading, begging. Please pray about it. God will still love you, but wouldn't it be great to have God's blessing? My brother, who is a Pentecostal pastor, will be officiating. Now on to the guest list. We both come from large families. That would put us at a guest list of 100 people for just the core group. Parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and in friends and selective plus ones, we'd get to around 150 people. That's plenty of people. My parents asked if they could invite some of their friends. Nope, not happening. We are full. They were a little mad, but didn't push the subject further. But then there's his parents. Unbeknownst to my fiancé or me, mother-in-law forwarded our save the date to several members of her extended family that we do not know. We only found out this past November. She asked to see the guest list during Thanksgiving to make sure everyone that needs to be invited is invited. Immediate red flag. We told her who was invited, and then she began listing names we never heard of. We were confused and said they're not invited. She's visibly upset and starts arguing with fiancé. Says that these are the most important people to her and she already invited them. He tells her it's not her place to invite people to our wedding. I stay out of it, but my face speaks for me. They go back and forth for a while, but it got nowhere. I signaled to my fiancé to let it go and we can talk about it later. We left the conversation telling mother-in-law we'll talk about it after Thanksgiving. Well, we never talked about it. Fiancé tried to make a game plan with his dad, thinking if he can be on our side, it would make talking to his mom much easier. But they're both non-confrontational and wanted to ignore this entire situation. I guess mother-in-law was crying to father-in-law about the guest list for a while. It was eating her alive. Father-in-law got annoyed and fed up, texted fiancé to invite the additional people. Fiancé said no, but they won't let it go. I let fiancé know he should continue to handle it since it's his parents. But the second his parents involve me, I'll handle it. He doesn't want that to happen. 3 days ago, it happened. She involved me. Mother-in-law texted fiancé and me in a group chat. Starts off strong. I've thought about the people in my life that really matter to me that I would like to be invited to your wedding. To put it short, she pulls the dead parents card. Dad passed when she was 11 and mom when she was in her mid-20s. And talks about how these people are parts of her parents. Claims they've been at every big family event. I haven't met these people in the past 7 years we've been together, and my fiancé says he's only met them a couple times. She even said not everyone invited is going to make it, so there should be room to invite additional people. She's already invited them, and they're very excited. She even sent them the hotel block information 7 to 8 weeks after we initially told her they weren't invited. It would be really embarrassing for her to uninvite them after all that. She's praying we allow them at our wedding. His parents did offer to cover the additional costs. We since haven't responded. Here's my perspective. It's not about money. It's about respect. We've spent months now telling his parents how it's going to be, but they won't respect what we say. They worry more about how they feel. Mother-in-law is upset the wedding isn't how she pictured, and father-in-law just wants her to be quiet. I empathize with the mother-in-law's situation in losing her parents all those years ago. I lost my mom 4 years ago, and then my brother less than 2 years later. It sucks that there are people who can't be there, and it's out of our control. But that doesn't mean she can require certain people to be invited. She might be the mother of the groom, but she is a guest. Guests can't control how the wedding will be. She's already crossed so many boundaries, and it's not my responsibility to fix the mistakes she made. I told my fiancé since it's his family, he makes the decision and I'll support him. He said he wants to give in just to make it all stop, but that sets the wrong precedent. He doesn't want these people there. He's not close enough with them, and if they really were that important, they would have been around more. He also doesn't want to start a marriage by ignoring my feelings and just doing what his mom says. He's torn and hurting. I've offered to be the one to respond, as I promised, so I can take the heat, but he doesn't want to ruin the little chance I have at building a relationship with his mom. With that, how would you respond? We agreed any response needs to be in writing, since most of our conversations have been verbal and misconstrued. Having it in writing makes it clearer. Should I mention that second venue tour I scheduled with the parents is in 3 days? Thanks in advance for whatever advice you give. Okay, I feel like the way that these people, the OP and her fiance, are talking to each other is great. They're going to have a great marriage. But this mother-in-law is a monster-in-law, and I feel like you got to put her in her place right now, because if you don't now, it's going to carry on into your marriage. Let me know if any of you guys are married and you've had a mother-in-law like this. How did you deal with them? Anyways, here's some of the comments. You should only allow mother-in-law to invite her people if your folks can also do the same. But honestly, do you really want people who don't even know at your wedding? I caved to my mother-in-law for my wedding, and I still regret it. I've been married for 30 years, by the way. Then the OP responds, funny enough, she says the same thing about her wedding, complains about how many friends and additional family each of their parents invited. She said it was overwhelming. When we say this is exactly the same as what she experienced, she backtracks. Next comment. I don't understand why brides allow anyone to dictate their wedding choices. For the love of Zeus, learn to say the word no and mean it. Use the wax seal if you want it. Tell her she will uninvite her unapproved guests or they'll be turned away at the door by the security you are hiring. And then do just that. You are getting married, so presumably you are adults. Start acting like it. Damn, that's a little harsh. But true. The problem is, they don't understand the meaning of no. It's not in their dictionary. We've said it multiple times, but it just doesn't click. Wax seals? Yeah, I appeased her for the time, and then went home and made the invites how I wanted them. The candle lotion stuff? We've already burnt the candle. Nice scent. We'll just happen to forget the other things at home the day of the wedding. Oops. The church venue issues? Well, I already paid the venue, so can't change it now. The guest list thing is just something less out of our control in terms of how the response will be. I don't have the contact information of the people she invited, so it's not like I can tell them myself. What if these people show up even after confirming several times they weren't invited? Then it turns into this huge dramatic moment that was avoidable if his parents knew what no meant. We just want to avoid a massive family blow up at the wedding. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I'm uninviting the in-laws. Like, if you're gonna make my wedding that stressful, you just can't go. Like, there's no need for all that negativity and confusion just because your in-laws are stupid. Anyways, let's go with the update 2.5 months later after they got married. Hi everyone, it's been a few months and I figured I could provide a bit of an update. The biggest update is, we got married. It was such an amazing day and went just as we had planned. We're still in awe of how perfect it was for us. We don't regret a thing, except our DJ, but that's a story for another time. In regards to dealing with mother-in-law and her guest list requests, the day after my initial post, my now husband sent a short text to both of his parents saying her extended family wasn't invited, and we were done having the conversation. Added in that we were disappointed with their behavior and that they've caused unnecessary stress. The response was interesting. Mother-in-law just responded saying she invited these people because we said it was okay in prior conversations. That never happened. And she has always been supportive of the wedding. That was never a concern, but now it is. There were no apologies, but we weren't expecting any. She also never said she would uninvite her guests, but we can confirm they did not come to the wedding. His dad even made a comment about how selective the guest list was in his speech. Tried to make it sound like everyone there should feel special they got an invite. Such a classy guy. I feel like that's kind of backhanded, no? Anyways, here's the end. Thank you to everyone who provided meaningful advice. Life has been really peaceful since the wedding, and we're loving it. For those currently planning a wedding, take your time, enjoy the good moments, and do it your way. If you're worried about something going wrong, my mantra was, screw it. Let me tell you, it helped a lot. Yeah, it's honestly a great thing that the OP and the OP's fiance didn't fold here, because the mother-in-law honestly is just probably trying to see how much pull she was going to have in this marriage. It's sad to say it, but there really are just people out there like that. Alright, the next one is from r/treelaw by user catgut. Neighbor had no idea where the property lines are and cut down my healthy 89-year-old oak because he didn't like trees being near his shed, plus a 2-year update. Upon pointing out the property stakes he missed, showing that it was about 40 feet into my property, he switched to demanding I pay half the $2,000 he spent to have it cut down. Yeah, that stump is 89 inches in circumference, by the way. I'm just glad I looked out into my backyard and was able to intervene before he had them cut down the adjacent oak as well. Got pictures of the stump, the other trees he had cut down at the same time, mostly on his lot, the day laborers in question, the property stakes that were ignored, and photos from both my front yard and his to demonstrate before and after as compared to Google Photos. Filed a police report. Wife wrote down her recollection of the confrontation. Tree lawyer contacted. Wait a minute, hold on guys, there's tree lawyers? If you're a tree lawyer, pretty much just the Lorax, right? I am a tree lawyer. I speak for the trees. Okay, let's continue. Working on getting a survey. Found an arborist association that offers consulting. Let the property manager of the next door house know that this guy took out a few trees on their lot as well. I'm a Virginia resident, and it looks like we have triple damages for timber trespass, so I'm being thorough. Let me know if I missed anything. I guess I'm just here to vent. My wife and I are both pretty upset. And here's an update 2 years later that was posted like a week ago. Hi folks, this is a follow-up to my previous post, which unexpectedly blew up on this sub. The TLDR is that in July 2024, a careless neighbor trespassed into my property to cut down a nearly 100-year-old healthy oak. He did this because he felt it threatened his shed, it didn't, and he had no idea where the property lines were and didn't bother to check. Then demanded we split the $2,000 he paid to have it cut down. A lot of people requested follow-up, but I wanted to wait until the situation was fully resolved, which ended up taking a lot longer than I anticipated. My wife and I were both pretty upset about the situation and hit the ground running from day one. We retained a lawyer specializing in tree law who advised we solicit a property survey to confirm the location of the tree. This ended up taking nearly 2 months due to a local shortage of surveyors, and unsurprisingly conclusively demonstrated that the tree was well within the bounds of our property by about 50 feet. While waiting on that, we hired a TPAC certified arborist to examine the stump and photos we provided of the tree pre-cutting. His appraisal was that the tree was healthy at the time of cutting and assessed a replacement value based on trunk formula technique at $11.8K. However, in my state, the replacement value is not considered the basis for damages. Instead, damages for commercially grown trees are 3 times the value of the lumber, while the residential trees that recognize damages are the reduction in property value as a result of the trespass. Our lawyer provided a recommendation for a home appraiser to determine this value. Alright, it would take me a really long time to read the rest of this, and it's surprisingly a lot of tree law, that I didn't know existed. So I'm going to read the TLDR. The neighbor demanded we pay him $1K for doing it. Neighbor had a lawyer experience instead. Neighbor paid us $7,000. We walked away with a bit over $2K after expenses. Geez. Well, note to self, if you ever want to cut down a tree, make sure you contact a tree lawyer first. Okay, so this next one's really short, but it's crazy. It's from r/AUS Legal, I'm assuming that's Australia, and the user is Aussie Flipping. I'm posting this on behalf of a close friend, and he's found himself in a bit of a pickle. In 1998, a police car was borrowed after a night of overindulgence. This car has been kept hidden on a rural NSW property since then in an old barn. Fast forward to today, and the property has been sold, and they need to vacate the property. Is it possible to return this car without consequences, or is this a case of having to dig a very large hole? And then here's the comments. Everyone commenting on this post, they have to be criminals. They have to be. 3 options. Come clean. Blame it on a dead friend. Double down, move car to new property, and deal with the same issue in the future. I do feel like blame it on a dead friend is a good option. Okay, here's another comment. Put on gloves, drive it to the road. Leave it on the side of the road with the keys in the ignition. Jump in your mate's car and don't look back. I gotta say, I agree with this comment. Dig a hole and bury it. And the OP responded, that's going to be the most likely outcome. Was just hoping after 27 years there was a legal way to return this piece of history. Here's the update 6 days later. After reading these comments, we thought it was best to consult a lawyer. Given the seriousness of the crime and a not so great criminal history, the car has been moved to a new home in an unused private garage. My mate will update his will as soon as practical and bequeath the car to the NSW Historical Police Museum upon his passing. He realizes he can't bequeath a stolen item, but the legal advice we have is the police will probably honor this bequeathment regardless. Thank you for the amazing response to this post, and have a great new year, everyone. You know, this is a good way to go about it, but what if this person's house randomly is a part of a crime, or for some reason it gets searched by police and they're like, oh wow, this cop car that went missing like almost 30 years ago. Wow, the posts today were absolutely golden. I hope you guys enjoyed these as much as I did. So yeah, if you liked today's video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, as it does help me out greatly. Huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. If you guys do want to further support the channel, that link's can be in the description. However, it is not at all required, completely optional. With all that said, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace. 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 Peace.